Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or their affiliate and supported ministries and/or nonprofit. And here they are, the two goofiest guys I know, Steve Mickey Mac and Randy Barr. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Facebook land. I'm glad that I have, you're going to laugh at this, but a normal voice after the weekend I've had with the CMT being active. The Charcot-Marie Tooth was activated big time. I ended up falling on Saturday morning, and I didn't hurt myself, thank goodness, but I was able to crawl back on my bed. By the way, welcome Randy Barr to the program.
Hello.
Be sure to watch his show, too, on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, called what?
Spirit in America.
Yep, and we need to have a lot of spirit in America
We
right
got a
now.
wonderful guest tomorrow. He's in charge of a Liberty, Liberty, I forgot now. I don't have it in front of me, but they get veterans together and they train them and how to debate and all that. They go to Washington and all that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, man, wow.
Pretty cool.
So my voice was, my CMT activated a slurring. At first, people thought it was a TIA or a small stroke, but it ends up being part of the CMT where your voice kind of starts slurring, like, that type of thing. And it happened until yesterday afternoon, and it started clearing up. I wasn't sure if I was going to be here today. So it was kind of scary because poor Rachel, she was at home and just wanted, she had to work only 4 hours, thank goodness for her. And so I just thank the Lord that he's got me here this morning in my spot, right where I need to be. And Randy, thank you for sitting in.
Welcome.
I do have a guest next week, so I'm looking forward to that. You will too. I think what we're going to do today is, I'm part of a group, and I met the international vice president of Campers for Christ. And I'm not sure if you guys know what Campers for Christ is, but it's an organization that has a group of Christians, and whether your talents are, whatever you like to do, it's usually a group of campers that are Christians that get together in a campground, whether you're in local or whether you travel the United States with this group. They minister to one another in song and preach to, and then they have a healing service. And sometimes the campground director will ask, if they want a Sunday morning service, or they'll ask, hey, we want to start a Sunday morning service, and they'll ask one of us, or they'll ask one of the people that are, or they don't have to be ordained or licensed or anything, to do a sermon and do a service. And so I thought that was a really cool thing. My friend Nick, who is going to be on the show, he portrays Zacchaeus, and him and his wife Lucy have traveled all over, and he does a great job, and he's going to be on the show soon. But he told me about Campers for Christ, and I thought, man, this is really interesting. Rachel wanted to travel and go camping, and I thought, what better way than to be a missionary in your own backyard, as well as around the United States. But in your own backyard, we've got a lot of campgrounds in Branson, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Let me share a little about Campus Crusade, and you are out there. They're for everybody. When my wife and I, in 1980, we were new Christians, we were going to church, did a 721 series. It was from Campus Crusade, 721.
What's that?
Well, it was 5 different verses, one on prayer and one on temptation, and very basic but wonderful, solid rocks that you have to have. So they do Bible studies. This is something new they're doing, looks like, with him. So if you ever get a hold of them and just ask around, you could probably get some help from whatever you want. And they mail things to you. Campus Crusade is wonderful. Quick story: Dawson Troutman, I believe, founded that Campus Crusade, and him and I think Chuck Swindoll, I'm not sure. Anyway, he was out on the boat on the lake, fishing and going around, and he fell off the boat, Dawson Troutman, and he drowned. Why do bad things happen to good people? I don't know. God is sovereign and reigns on the good and bad. But they went back and they're going, to his wife, your husband's gone. Your husband's gone. We're so sorry. Your husband's gone. And she got the drift of it.
Morning, Jana.
She got the drift of it, and then she goes, well, he's in a better place than we are. Just like that. So that's the kind of faith that was at the bottom of that organization.
The Campus for our church was really involved in Campus Crusade, and there are at least our church for a little bit, but our state, I think Michigan, was really involved in Campus Crusade for. Can you say that? I can't.
Campus Crusade for Christ.
Yeah, man, that's a mouthful for me this morning.
You're just coming back from this,
Yeah, exactly. So whenever that happens to me, I have to get reorganized, and my mouth does too, apparently. But anyway, this campus, or I almost started saying Campus for Christ.
Campus Crusade.
Campus Crusade for Christ, or Campus Crusade. I'm thinking Campus for Christ. Anyway, the campers, and by the way, Richard Bartz, I know you've listened to the show before, and we'll have you or Rob Jubkins step in. It can be over the phone if you want, but he actually is part of Acts Ministry. I didn't know that until a little bit ago, that he was actually ordained and licensed through Dr. Wallace. See you later, Jeffrey, with a G. Say hi to Peg.
Yep, say.
I really thank the Lord for these men. They really have a heart for people and want to serve the Lord, and they have a servant's heart for other campers that are out there that might not know the Lord, or if they do, they just need somebody to talk to. And that's what this group does. Is it's not an actual group of people that come in to do a service. They're just a group of ordinary folks, older
visit
folks.
With people.
Yeah, visit the campground, and they visit with neighbors, other campers, but they're actually in fellowship with one another, and they're there to fellowship and to minister to one another. And it's a lot of fun.
For some of you that are out there, and I know because I've been there, and you're, I don't know, I can't share, I don't know enough, this is for the pastor. That's baloney. You look at the Bible, Jesus said, go therefore to everybody. Don't be afraid. Just be friends. Be friends with them. You get a chance, you say, this thing with Jesus is really real. Just be yourself. And you'd be surprised how much that can work on people.
Yeah, if you're yourself, don't worry about big words. God will speak to you, and He'll give you the words to say. And if you just have to listen for that still small voice and listen for God to give you the words to say. But you know what? You don't have to be fancy with words, and people in general will understand you because if you look too. If you start using big words, you're going to sound plastic to some people. You're just going to sound like, oh, you're one of those people. Yeah. Instead of trying to building a relationship with people is very important when you're a Christian, because that's what it is. We have a relationship with Jesus. It's not an organization. It's not a religion. It's a personal relationship with Christ. And if you just talk to other people, and talk to God, like, you don't need fancy words to God. God knows your heart. You can talk to Him like your dad, like you're talking to your dad. That's how I was always told.
I'm just not good at memorizing. Certain things just stick in my head. And a man named Bill Fay was kind of going over the gospel. And I think it's 80% of the people, Christians, don't share. They think you got somebody with evangelism should do that, or the pastor, or whatever.
Right.
And he was kind of like, that's not right. It's not biblical. But he said, and I remember, because I'd be thinking, what should I say here? What should I do? He said, guess what? He said, I don't care what you say. He said, if you say nothing, the Holy Spirit can't use that. He can't use nothing. But if you open your mouth, whether you think you said it right or not, but you're sharing that you love Jesus, there's a go, and I never forgot that. I thought, yeah, if you say nothing, you don't have a chance. If you say something, at least you're getting something out there.
It's called planting a seed, and that's what my ministry is. And starting, I think, next week, I'm going to be doing Seed of the Week. or if you have a seed that you'd like to share later on by the end of the program, I'd like to have you share a seed of the day or a seed for the week to end our show with by the end of the show. If you'd like to do that, I'd appreciate it.
What seed?
Like a seed, like a thought, something that Christ has given you, or even a Bible verse.
Okay.
Yeah, so but that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm either going to do it or I'm going to have my guest share a seed. A friend of mine, Cindy, who I talk about frequently on the morning drive, and she's been on my show on the phone. Cindy Flowers, she's been like a sister, and her daughter, man, Ashley, if you're watching, love you. I'm Uncle Steve, and we've been that close. And she said, Steve, it's about time you started evangelizing. You're licensed, you're ordained, and so that's what I'm going to start doing. Is I want to maybe do a devotional, not necessarily a sermon, but a devotional. And one of those is going to be coming up in October about spiritual warfare. And we all know what I don't even want to call it a holiday, but we already know what the end of October is, what they celebrate at the end of October, which is Halloween. And we've got a very special guest coming on at the beginning of that month to talk about the occult. And you've seen her on Sacred Ways. I'm talking about Nimra Roden. She's going to be talking about candy-coated occult. And she's actually got her own show. I guess she talks about it. But I think it's really good to inform people that don't know what the true meaning of Halloween is or what they think is the true meaning. Believe me, this woman knows about, because she was once involved in it. And when you talk to somebody that was once involved in it, they're not going to mess around and tell you a bunch of myths and tell you, something about the black cat and the bonfires. And it's really interesting. So that's coming up in October. And the whole month is going to be on spiritual warfare and learning how to fight the battles against
That's an
Satan.
important thing, because it's just the way it is, folks. If there's a God and there's Jesus, there's a devil.
Hey, Rev.
And guess what? Jesus has power over God, but you got to know how to use it, and you got to know how to pray, and you got to know how to stand. And I was a Christian for a long time, and we never did anything on that end. Not that it's fun. I don't really like learning about this stuff, but once we started to learn, we knew, okay, this is real. And demons are, and you know what to do in Christ. No problem. You don't have to worry about it. You got the one on your side, but you want to know how to go after them, and the Bible tells you.
Mm-hmm.
And
putting on the full armor of God.
Yeah, full armor of God. You bet. It tells you. I've had to use it. By the way, I just have to say this.
Go ahead.
I've had a few issues in my life, health-wise and mental, different things. Woe is me. Everybody has something. But if I start feeling sorry for myself, I just think about Him. I've never seen anybody that goes from one thing to the next and the next, keeps coming up, keeps smiling, keep coming up, keep smiling, keep coming up, keep.
A lot of people say that now.
Well, then I feel like an idiot. I go, oh, heck with me. If you ever look at someone that's got it worse than you, you kind of like, ease off. But I've known him for a long time, and he's always fighting through something.
Yeah.
But you know what? That somehow that's God's plan, and He can do it, and He comes out smiling. He knows where He's going to spend eternity. That's huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just had to throw that in.
No. I'm glad you did, because a lot, and Rachel will tell you the same thing. There's a lot of people that just say, I don't know how the guy does. I don't know how you do it. It was many things but you know what? It's the same thing. If I said, woe is me, and you know what? I do feel overwhelmed at times, and I did a few days ago. I felt overwhelmed, and Satan's only using that as well. See, you know what? You're gonna go down in flames. You're gonna do this, and he's throwing these negative thoughts at me, and sometimes I've got the human flesh, and until God gives me that perfect body, I'm gonna feel that way, But as long as you come out on the other end and read the Bible and start reading out loud verses to help encourage you, I have to watch on YouTube. I'll have to have Tina back on, but there's a devotional, what I call a devotional, or just a thought for the week, and it's be encouraged. Be encouraged every week, and I am encouraged just by watching that, because you think, man, I'm really down in the dumps, but you see her smiling and telling stories and encouraging you, and she's on the sidelines rooting you on. I think that's great. And I'm going to have Tina back on. She was on, I think, somewhere in August. I can't remember, but she's a sister from another mister, that's for sure. So I was able to meet her son before he went off to college, and so I think they're a great family. And so getting back to, I think that if you're down and out, folks, seriously, if you're down and out and you need somebody to talk to just for an ear, I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and list my number so that you guys can call me, and that goes for Jana, you, or anybody else that's on my watch party. I'm a listening ear, and I might not give good advice, but I'm going to do the best I can. And
Amen. You're willing to go. I am too.
And be praying for this young man too, Randy. He's been going through some deals, and just when we think we're down and out, you're right, Randy. Just when you think that you've got it bad, you look at somebody else and they're just as bad off. We pray for that person, and we have to just say, Lord, just bless their day, bless them. And you know what? God's in control.
Well, can I give you an example?
Brian
Good morning. I don't care where you are, spiritually or
Hubbard.
anything. When you see someone that's in a wheelchair, like Johnny Tata Erickson, and she can't move below her neck, and oh boy, and she says, I praise God, I thank him that I broke my neck because I was a selfish little girl and I probably never would have known Jesus. That's what she says. And then she sings, and then she does this. She speaks.
Artistry.
She goes all over, in this wheelchair. Whatever's wrong with you, if you pray for healing, you bet, and try to get better. But if you can't, give it to God. He'll use you anyway. Did you ever see that little guy with no arms or legs?
Oh,
They put him out there?
Nick?
Holy smokes. I don't know his name, but he doesn't have any arms or legs, and he preaches. So, I've had people tell me before I had a major problem with depression. Oh, why would a Christian have that? I don't know, but in the Bible there were some, you don't know, but you give it to God. And I've had people say, well, why would this happen to you?
Or
yeah. What do you mean?
Or God, what did you do? Now, the old way of the Bible, I think
Yeah.
the Bible's, well, what did you do to deserve this? Why did God do that to you?
Yes,
God didn't do anything.
No.
He might have done it for a reason, though.
If it's something like depression or something, I encourage get prayer. I encourage you to seek yourself, search yourself. If there's any unconfessed sin, confess it. You bet. All that. We should all do that. Anyway. But when there's nothing there, you need help. You need more prayer. You need to go to the hospital. You need to look for other things. Seek and you'll find. But don't feel guilty. I've had my share of that because some people don't mean it. But what did you do? And anyway, I got off on a tangent. Sorry.
No. That's okay. That's why you're here. You're here to express yourself, to help me. I'm helping you, and Matt, I appreciate your help as well, and Jay, I appreciate you helping out when you can, and so I just wanted to say that again. I can't say it enough, but I'm not gonna continually repeat myself. But I just enjoy Matt and Jay, and man, I can't believe it's in November. I think it's gonna be 2 years, Matt, something like that.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 years, man. Time flies. I hope we have a good winter after Rachel and I were talking about this summer, like where did this summer go? In 2 days, tomorrow is the first day, maybe not the first day fall, full day of fall, but man, it creeped up on me, and it's like, what happened to the summer? It's because of the COVID. I think it demolished a lot of things that normally would happen during the summer, and people were closed up half the summer, and I think most all spring. But anyway, We need to pray for the situation going on worldwide as well as what's going on in these major cities. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. That's not what I want to do. But these rioters, that's what they are. And the movements, I don't know if that's a disguise being said in front of some of these people that are looting and rioting, and that's not doing anything but destroying their own cities and destroying America. So we need to just pray for these people instead of, you want to say, I can't believe that you did this, and you want to be mean, but God knows the situation.
Well, I don't want to get political, but pray for your leaders, pray for your president. The Bible says so. Whoever, if you don't like them above you, pray for the position, pray that things go better. And all I can say is, if you love the Bible, you love the Lord, or you're looking that way, you want things that way, it doesn't take too long nowadays to go on Facebook or whatever and figure out where they stand on things. Well, a lot of the, I'll call it the left, let's say, they go with abortion and everything right up to the time. If you think that's good, I guess that's where you need to be. But most people I talk to, are you kidding me? They don't even know, No, they don't want that. Well, that's where this president stands. And then you look at, well, what did he do with trade and all that? I never used to get into that. I probably should have. I wasn't a very good person. I didn't even vote, I don't think, when I was younger. But now I'm a little more interested. And then I can see, okay, this person's doing this or that. I don't want that because it's against. This one's doing this. It's that simple. So open up a little bit and see what you think. And I'll give you some advice because I've got some information that's not all bad. They are indicting people. They have got proof on some certain things worldwide, really, on this. You've heard of this sex trafficking thing with the
Human
kids.
trafficking
with
and
the
sex
kids,
trafficking.
that's just horrible. They went after that, and we don't know yet because it's kind of an undercover thing. But I think you're going to see, not too long from now, they're going to come out and show you how they've blown up a lot of these tunnels and things, and they're going after that. Well, that's a good thing. How could anybody do this to these kids? It just makes me sick. That's enough.
Yeah, that's for your show, not mine.
I get off when I think of this.
No. I'm just kidding. That's we on this show we try to bring. That's why we call it Brighter Living. Is we want people to. I want to be able to spread the sun, SON, and be able to let people know that he's going to shine. He's shining in my life, and I want him to shine in yours. And so we need to be lighthouses because there's storms, there's huge waves coming at us, and there's been a huge storm, the perfect storm almost, because of this COVID thing, and people are being treated as though they're robots in a lot of ways. So that's what I'm hearing. We're being treated like robots where we've got the mask versus the unmasked. People are lashing out at one another because they're not wearing it, whatever.
I think history will show that we're being manipulated and things aren't exactly what we're being told.
So that's why we have to show the fruits of the Spirit, and I'm going to share that next week too. Is I'm going to go into the fruits of the Spirit, and then in October it'll be putting on the full armor of God, because that's where spiritual warfare comes in. But we need to do that. Don't wait until I tell you about it. If you're if you're a Christian, and you need to put on the full armor of God on a daily basis, because right now we need to have that, and we need to pull up that shield of faith, and we just need to present ourselves as though we're a knight in shining armor. I guess if you want to put it that way, and be a knight in shining armor for God, and he'll let him help you do the work, and I'm sure, and he'll fight your battles. There's a song, fighting your battles, and by a contemporary Christian artist, Michael W. Smith, and you need to listen to that song. It's a great song, and I think it talks about a lot of different things. But we need to fight battles. We're fighting battles every day, but we need to let God fight our battles.
Yeah, man.
And we know that we'll win.
Yep. You can't lose with him. The
No.
worst thing that can happen is you get to go to heaven forever. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean,
I shouldn't say it's the worst thing, but I mean, if that
It's the
happens,
b-
if you know Christ, get to go there.
it's the best thing.
Yeah.
So we just have to remember to have God on. We have to pray and let God lead our lives every day and put on that. But then the fruits of the Spirit, we have to show love. And as Matt mentioned, I guess, is your pastor still doing the series on love?
Yeah.
And so
Patient was this week. Well, it's going to be
next
next week.
week,
To another subject.
okay,
Didn't get his
Be-
lesson taught this month.
okay. But we have to remember to use that fruit because actually there's a Greek word for fruit, and I think that we need to remember that we're shedding. Are we not shedding? We're using the fruits like love and peace. We need peace. So I'm going to be going over each one of them, and there's 9 of them. And so I think it's a good idea to be reminded, and that's found in Galatians 5, I do believe. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think it's Galatians 5 is where the fruits of the Spirit are.
I think so. It does sound right.
Galatians 5.
Yeah, I think that's 25. I think that's where. Oh, Stephanie, welcome to the party. So I think that it's really important to review those because when I talked to the kids on Sunday morning, or we went over the fruits of the Spirit, and you have to, of course, with kids. Hey, there's Mr. Troy. And by the way, I'm glad he walked in, so that reminded me. Stay tuned for Sacred Ways coming up. Do you have a guest, Troy? Okay. So stay tuned for Sacred Ways coming up after my show, and that's at 10 o'clock Central. It's 11 o'clock Eastern. And so I've got a lot of people that watch his show that are on my watch party from Michigan. So we're getting a lot of support from Michigan. Thank you, Michigan family, and for tuning in to my show and the morning drive. I'll tell you what, people just enjoy the morning drive, and I think there's Jay, by the way, more people that are on my watch party that have been watching the morning drive. They watch right on all the way through all week, including the Veterans Church. So it is being liked and shared.
And we're wanting to build a network that's 24 hours live.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we're wanting to build a network that's 24/7
Great.
and a lot of it live. And I'm going to be talking to Jay later on about some other production things that I've got in mind. Do you have time, just a couple minutes for me to share that out off the air?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, things are going good for me, so that's why I'm trying to be careful how much I put on my plate, because I've been there where I put too much on my plate and shouldn't have, and I've gotten scolded by friends, scolded by Rachel. You're putting too much on your plate. Back off. And that's true. And then when I did that, I did feel like a release of bricks. And so I just got to be careful from this point on to remember, especially with my health and everything, with the CMT, and I've got to be really careful how I conduct things.
That's why.
Not just the fruit of the Spirit, it's the fruit of the flesh
Yes.
in comparison to the fruit of the Spirit, and it's absolutely true.
Yeah. Isn't that what Paul said? It's not for Greek with fruit. It's really the flesh.
Yeah.
It's the fruit of the flesh.
The fruit of the flesh. Yeah, so that's what it is, the fruit of the flesh and the fruit of the Spirit, and the contrast between the two. And it's how you know whether you're being led by the Spirit or led by the flesh.
Exactly. So that's why we have love. And you know what? I don't know who it was that said long suffering was the hardest one for them. Was that you, Randy? Something about long suffering? Somebody's told me they said long suffering is
Yeah.
the one that they have the hardest one with.
Well, yeah.
And meek.
It would be Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
Right.
If you have those things, you are in full obedience to the law.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative. We want to be balanced. If you look suffering up in the Bible, it's in there about 100 times. It's not in there negatively mostly. Peter says it'll give you patience. When you come out of suffering, you have more dependence on God. And I know that's true because I've been, but it's not necessarily, oh, it's terrible. What did I do? No. You give it to the Lord. You pray, and like you say, unconfessed sins and all that, because there could be a little problem. But when it's there, He's a sovereign God. He allowed it for some reason. I don't want to get into that. It's hard to understand. But give it to Him. And when you come out of that, according to many verses in Peter and in Romans even, in different places, it comes out with a positive venue. Like, well, for example, in Romans 8, 16:8, I think, it says, if you're going to be glory with Christ and be glory in Him up above, I'm just Randy Barr translation, you're also going to have some of the suffering. It goes right from that to that. That means we get the privilege of having some of the suffering that Jesus had, because He had it all. He had it all. So it's really, and you come through it, you give it to God, you come out stronger. So don't let anybody tell you if you're having these problems or whatever, I'm not good enough. I hate that one. I've hurt people. I've done bad things with women. I've done all this. That's what Jesus died for. Forget that. You go come to Him and ask Him to come in and help you and change your life. He'll do it. It doesn't matter what you've done, because He died for all the sin there is. He wants to change you and take you around. So don't let that devil do that one. No matter what you've done, you're sick of it, you want Jesus, go up to Him and invite Him in, and He'll come.
Yep. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it will be.
Knock and the door will be open.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I just think that was great, Randy. I appreciate you saying that, because we need to be, all of us need to be reminded of that. And if you, like I said, if you need the help and if you need to get plugged in and you want, I'll be more than happy to email me if you want, or you can, I've got to make sure the address is right, Jay, if they want to email something to me. Isn't it X? What would be the?
Matt.
Oh, okay. Well, when you get it back, or my number 417-593-3709. That is my personal cell. If you need to talk and there's something in your life that you really need to talk about, I am here. I am a servant of God, and we need to be in fellowship, and I need to pray for you and will pray for you. So just remember that, Michigan friends or Branson friends. I've got some Branson friends that are tuning in, and so that goes for everybody that tunes in my watch party. I really appreciate that. I'm here as just a listening ear. I don't have to talk at all. Just be a listening ear and pray.
Yeah, and my guess is it's hard to know everybody's website and numbers and everything. If you get a hold of Axe Mediacom or Axe,
X432.
they'll take the information.
Can you guys hear me?
And they'll go
Yes,
out.
yes.
4321 ACTS, ACTS at gmail.com. 4321 ACTS at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you. And just direct it to me if you want to get a hold of any of us. I don't want to leave anybody out like Matt or Jay or any. Reach out to any of us, but I just want to put it out there so that don't feel afraid to reach out. I really need to. I just felt led to say that because God's put me and appointed me to be an evangelist and to be licensed and ordained, and it was being ordained by God. You hear ordination services are man-made, but it's actually God who ordains you. And it's just man's the vessel, or the preacher is there to oversee things, but it's God who actually ordains you. That's what
Right.
I've always been told, and I mean, I'm thinking ordination, man. But the licensing, it's a whole different ballgame. But anyway, whether you're licensed or ordained or not, God still calls you to be a missionary in your own backyard.
When I went to go in the mission field in 1990, there was a lot of issues there, but we got, I won't go into, I had to quit work really because of the danger of what I was doing, and I wasn't up to it. But anyway, my pastor said, I wouldn't advise it. He said, you'll never be the same. You'll never have your same ministry. And I said, what? When you work somewhere or go somewhere or whatever, and you're not a missionary or anything, you're just a Christian, you love the Lord, you are a missionary. Right there to the ones you work with and the ones you see, they see you every day. And if they see you being calm and kind and all this, guess what? They go, what's going on? I'll never forget, my boss and I worked on an Air Force base, and everybody knew we were religious, so to speak, or whatever, but we were nice and everything to them. They didn't invite us to their beer parties and stuff, and we didn't want to. But when they were having a problem, they'd stop by the shop and want to talk.
Yeah,
That's
I've
what
heard
I'm
that.
trying to tell all of you. Don't think, oh, he's a pastor, he's a missionary. If they're that way, they were called for that. But you are called just to be your own ministry right where you are.
A lay
Really.
person.
Right where you are.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a lay person
Absolutely not.
because God's called. We're actually all ministers of the gospel. If you have a personal relationship with Christ, you're a minister, and you're not obligated. You should be willing to witness because we were all sent out into the world to be a witness.
Absolutely.
And we've got to be careful. And there's a testimony. We just have to make sure that if we're going to be that witness, people are all eyes are on you. They are looking at you, believe it or not. And that's happened to me. People, like I told you in the previous programs, where somebody picked on me. They didn't physically hit me, but they just didn't think too kind of me, and they thought I was a loser type of person. But they knew I was a Christian. But because I stood my ground and didn't do anything and say anything, later on we got back together
Yeah.
after so many years, and they apologized to me, and they said, you being a Christian, I didn't really understand. I was just picking on you. Of course, we were teenagers, 16, 17 years old. But later on, he gave me a hug, and I guess he became a Christian, and he just wanted to thank me. He said, "Thank you, Steve, for being who you are, and don't ever change." And that meant a whole lot to
Amen.
me. And see, even back then, I didn't know I was really being a testimony. I just did what I was supposed to do. I grew
Love
up in
the
a
Lord.
home where my mom was always, she was a prayer warrior of the family. And so somebody says, "You always take after your mom." I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" Kind words, the smile. And somebody said, "You've got your mom's smile." I'm like, "I do?" That was a compliment, actually.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we have to do. We have to learn how to smile more, folks. I know that it's kind of hard behind the mask whether you're smiling or not, but you can usually tell if they're smiling because of their eyes. Do your eyes squint when you smile? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I-
body language says a
It's
lot
hard for me
nowadays.
to smile. My mouth isn't,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Your body language, you don't, because your mouth is covered up, but your body language still says a lot, especially now.
You
So
know-
we just have to learn to be kinder to people. And you know what? We don't know what that other person, cashier, salesperson is going through because of this time. And we just have to let our light shine. And then vice versa, being a salesperson, somebody might get after you, and they did that to Rachel. Rachel just, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She never lashed out, and this person was being belligerent, and of course they're all trained to not get back at you anyway. But Rachel would never do that.
Ooh.
She would walk away, or she would get help before she did anything. But she's really good at keeping her cool till she gets home, and then no, I'm just kidding.
people can be rude, boy.
Yeah,
So-
they can be, especially with now. I mean, they're just tearing one another down for no reason. And so we just need to pray for this whole COVID thing to get flattened, and we hope flattened for good, but we know that it'll probably get worse before it gets better. But the Lord's coming back soon. I think these are the last days.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah, but I'm 67, and I feel like I'm starting to understand things, and now I'm gonna, how long am I gonna make it? I'd like to have that when I was 30, but folks, it's the way it is. What Trump calls it, fake news, and they really don't tell us everything. I've witnessed that, but fake Christians. I'm sorry, they go to church and everything. They want to put up a show, so then they do something hypocritical or whatever, and I get people, I don't want to be like those Christians, and they complain. I said, I don't think they'd do that. They might make a mistake, but they wouldn't always do that. I mean, if you're a Christian, all you do is yell and scream, never do anything. I'd wonder, the ones that know the Lord, let's call it born again, or they know Him spiritually. That's the ones. Have you ever watched anybody, whether you know the Lord or not, and you go, oh, there's something different about that person?
Exactly.
I'm going to say right now, when I see Billy Hale, ever since I've seen him for many years, there's a God. There's a Jesus. Because it's right in him, and it's coming out of him, and you, and others. And that's what you want to look for if you're going to, be happy. The ones where the characteristics, now they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, make mistakes. But he is so humble and neat, and I just go, there's the proof right there.
Especially with what he went through last year, I think it was. We thought we lost the guy like twice. And the Lord knew that he was not done with Brother Billy Hale. Billy Hale's here for a reason, to still minister the gospel. But, man, it was pretty close to having him going home. And so
I went up to see him, and he was out, although he did kind of put his hand toward me.
But you never know he's sick now. You never know.
I said, can I read some verses? I opened the Bible, just opened it, and the verses were pretty right there. And then I prayed, and I said, Lord, well, you can do anything. We'd all like Billy stay longer and do his work. We love him. But it's your will, not ours. That's basically how I prayed, and that's what he wanted. He was ready to go,
Yeah,
but
the
Lord said, nope, we're going to leave you down here some more because you're going to do some more yet. It was unbelievable. That's a miracle.
I'm not ready for you to come home. You need to stay there and present the gospel the best way that you know how.
That was a miracle. It really was.
And he's going to be on my show too, and we're going to talk about that, and he's going to give that testimony of, and he'll probably sing a song. And
he sang two. We had him 2 weeks ago. I had him sing two.
So he's going to be. I think he's going to be eventually on a lot of shows here. But he and Donna have been a blessing to me, and I've known them now. I think I joined them about a year after I was here, so about 8 years I've known those folks, and I'll tell you what, they really know how. Talking about letting your light shine, man. He walks in the room and you can see the glory of God.
Yeah, I just love him. He's just so cool. Yeah. Before I forget, tomorrow on my show, it's going to be really neat. It's the Champions of Liberty. Couldn't say it before. Champions of Liberty. This individual founded, and it's big now, a group where he recruits veterans, mainly because they love country and flag, and we're taught when we go into the service all these things, then we feel it. So you're getting God and country people, you're getting people that the Constitution, you automatically get all that. So he's getting veterans that want to do it, giving them training, debating, speaking, takes them to Washington, the whole bit, and then they're out there ready to go to war. In other words, talk
verbally.
Well, I mean, be able to debate and talk to people and go in and work things and go to the senators and try to, and it was, I think they already got 5,000 or something. But I mean, that's what he's doing. So we are trying to bring up people that are love the Lord and love the country and the flag and all that, and that's what they're about. And he's going to talk about it. So if you're a veteran, especially, be listening because you can be in on it. And if you're not, you can support it.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow at 9.
Amen. I'll be looking forward to that. State coming up is Sacred Ways with Troy and Belinda Johansson. And I'm looking forward to that because I was just told if that's all right because we can but he asked me to be his guest today.
Oh,
So I thought that was really great. Now, do you have a seed that you'd like to leave with the seed of, or something for the rest of the week? Should you give?
I got a few, but the one that's in my head, he brought it up, so I thought that's all right. There's this Matthew 7:7. It's in another part of the gospel too. Ask and it'll be given you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. If you go into the Hebrew and all that, that's plural. Asking, seeking, knocking. Well, to me, if you seek earnestly, you're going to find Jesus, because that's what it says. And Jesus says, I am the truth. You'll find the truth. But you have to seek earnestly. One good way to do that, if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know about all this, is a little book about like this. I'm not trying to advertise it, but I'm just telling you. It's written by Josh McDowell. He's a genius. And when he was in college, he liked this girl that was a Christian. He thought it was silly. And he went out to prove him wrong. He flew all over and looked at all the different manuscripts and everything. Everything was so provable, it drew him in. And before he got done, he got on his knees and received Christ. It's more than a carpenter. It's real easy reading. It's a little book, but he jams it full of the stuff he did. And when you read that stuff and you know it's not guessing, it's fact, and how it affected him, it'll affect you too, whether you're a Christian or not. I like to give it to people that are on the fence, and they usually say, whoa, more than a carpenter. A little book said 15 million sales. You can get it easy, Google it, get it used, whatever. But and you'll be seeking you'll find. That's a good tool.
Thank you. That was a great seed to go with, and I just want to remind people that God's large and in charge, and He is going to be. He's faithful to me. He will and can be faithful to you. Just follow Him and seek His face, and you'll be doing just fine. And Randy Barr, thank you very much for coming. I
think I talked too much, but
no,
oh well.
no. I thought you were gonna. I was gonna say thank you for tuning in, but you tuned in. All right, you were live, and thank you, Jay, for sticking around and helping out. And Matt, I know he's listening. He's in the other room. Pardon? Oh, okay. So thanks again, folks. We love you. More importantly, Jesus loves you.
Amen.
And God's in charge, and have a brighter day. God bless. See you next week.